I have received a shipment of the new wave of Hammond collection figures, Scutosaurus, a Triceratops ghost, and this baby Triceratops, which is the one we'll be covering in this video. Uh, yes. Weird wave, right? We've got, I hesitate to use the word iconic. Iconic in the context of Dominion. A key Dominion dinosaur. We've got Scutosaurus, which is a baffling mystery to be included. And then Baby Triceratops, which is like, yes, that's from the movies, but like, why that? Out of all the animals that are missing still, why that now? Now, we will, however, still look at these figures because we look at everything. Okay, I cannot open the box because there is a bit of tape here keeping me from pulling this out. Well, it's fine. It doesn't matter. We can pull it out. So, yes. Woo, Triceratops. Oh my god. There it is. Little guy. Which, you know, we know because it's a baby. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, there he is in the packaging. Let's pause the video and pop him out and assemble his tail. Real quick, we got some different packaging thing going on here. There's like a weird little taped tab back here. Like, okay. So I guess that there can be this cardboard outline and the plastic inside and have it still be like secured but not like glued specifically to the cardboard. Because I think these used to be glued to the cardboard. Also, worth pointing out the box packaging. So, labeled as a Jurassic World figure. Back here specifically mentions the petting zoo. So yeah, that's what I thought when this was announced. This looked like the Jurassic World rendition of the baby trike and not the Jurassic Park era rendition of a baby trike. Because we do have pretty distinctive variations on the juvenile trikes in the franchise. Neither one gets much screen time, so it's really hard to actually notice the differences, but we will do a little bit of comparison. And of course, this is part of the wave that is Allosaurus, and then the other two small figures we have here. Allosaurus came out first, though. Here's what the little trike looks like out of the packaging. The tail connection point appears to just be a simple ball joint. Which we gotta get this thing on there. Oh my god, okay, that does not like to go on. I'm going to have to probably warm up the tail here later to get this on. This ball joint is, yeah, not very conducive to actually snapping it in there. Which is kind of surprising compared to, like, the Hammond collection figures assemble pretty easily. And this one is not doing that. This is the first time I've actually had to consider how the fuck I attach a toy piece to this thing. Damn. Well, okay. Well, there's what the body looks like anyway. We got a good range of like articulation on the head here. We can swivel it decently a little bit, which is nice. The mouth moves on this one, unlike the larger one from much earlier in the line. Good amount of articulation on the legs. We got knees. We got ankles. Looks like the toes are unpainted. The nails on the toes. So there's that. But that's pretty standard, especially for a smaller figure. It's not like super noticeable on a trike anyway. So like if something's going to be unpainted, it's probably okay that it's this. I mean, at least all the horns on the head here are painted, including the little cheek horns. Are those jugles? Is that what they call those? Might be. I think the horn sharpness is pretty decent for a baby. Like, not crazy, of course. The glass eye there looks decently well done. You can actually see the pupil. It doesn't just kind of look like a big glassy eye. We do have some like coloring on the underside of the body there. There's like a lighter bit on the belly. Tail is actually painted too on the underside, which is not necessarily something they would have done. Like, I can appreciate that. I don't see any like flaws in the figure beyond the tail being kind of a bastard to get attached. But you only have to do that once, and then it's fine. Let's compare to some reference images then. So, whoops, hold on. First things first, this is the classic trike. So this was an animatronic made for the first film, but not used in the first film. It came back in the roundup, in the InGen roundup in Lost World, in the camp specifically, not like the actual Stampede scene. You see this inside one of the cages. So this is obviously a classic Euro trike with like the little armored scoots on the back here. And you can see just by comparing to the world version, like the horns are completely different. Like the scale and shape of the head is completely different. The classic one is much more, the frill is much more linear back from the skull, whereas this one swoops up. These horns are much longer on the top. The nose horn versus the brow horns on the classic trike baby are pretty similar size, and they're very much not here. I feel like the head's shorter here as well. Probably the proportion of the head to the body is pretty different, but that could also just be a figure thing. So yeah, definitely not a JP trike. Doesn't seem to be drawing any inspiration from it. There's like no scoots on the back of this guy. Right, he's your standard smooth, ugly world era trike. So it's probably based on this design. I think that's pretty easy to say. You got the upswept brow horns, right? You've got the same kind of rough face shape. The frill swoops up. You've got the horns here, the hornlets on the frill that you can see, which the classic one doesn't really have. There's like little lumps there, but it doesn't have like the full horns. So definitely the world design. I believe this is a Fallen Kingdom render. Because yeah, you get this baby here in Fallen Kingdom, which very much looks like this. There's also, of course, the actual petting zoo, so I should go find an image of that. Yeah, so here's the petting zoo scene. This is probably like the only part where you see the trikes. Very similar to the Fallen Kingdom design, probably actually the same CG model. But you can do the face-on comparison there a little bit. It's pretty similar. Pretty similar, yeah. I think the face might be a little fatter on the film version. The color palette looks about as right as anything can. It's just brown. I mean, that's all they are. Yeah, the frill definition looks pretty good. I mean, it seems like a pretty accurate rendition of this Triceratops here. This juvenile. I would have preferred Ralph, the classic one, just for the sake of having a classic one. But like this one does get more screen time because it does show up in 2 films instead of like 10 seconds in 1 film. So I get it. This makes more sense from a broader franchise perspective. Missed opportunity to not put a saddle on this fucker, right? This is specific. The packaging specifically calls this out as being from the petting zoo. Whatever this zoo is called, I forgot it now. Is it? Oh, it is Gentle Giants. Yeah, Gentle Giants Petting Zoo. So like if they would have put a saddle accessory on this, I think that would have been really clever. Like a good way to like make this particular figure stand out more. Just a detachable saddle. That would be so unique. Like you can even see a third one there in the background too. Like we know what the saddles look like. You can see a pretty good shot of it. Yeah, missed opportunity to not do that, I think. That's I'm actually now that in this very moment that I've made this connection, I'm a little disappointed they didn't do that. There's no reason to linger on this much longer than this, I think. Let's go ahead and rank this guy. It's pretty accurate, especially for a small figure, I think. It's a design I don't particularly love, though. I think it's probably better than the larger trike, right? Because the larger trike is like out of scale. It doesn't have anywhere near the level of articulation this one has. Not as accurate anyway. This is probably like a low A. Low A, high B. This could be the highest of B. I don't know. I think it's pretty decent. Like for what it is supposed to be. I think I'm gonna put it at the bottom of A. I'm feeling high B, but I'm just thinking about like distribution here, right? Because I'll small preview the next 2 videos. I have a hunch this whole wave is going to be B essentially, which is going to end up pushing the B tier like way out behind the camera here. And it feels a little weird to me sometimes when you have tier lists that end up being really skewed, I can get like skewing to very few D's or very few S's, right? Because these are like the creme de la creme and like the really dog shit stuff. But when you have like skewing in the middle tiers, it just feels like you're not being honest a little bit about where the cutoff should be. And the cutoff, it makes sense to me too that like the cutoffs would change over time for a tier list, right? Because the tier list is subjective based on everything else in the collection. So obviously, as the new things are released, you can reevaluate the positioning of things a little bit and like slide tiers down. There's also the argument to add more tiers. I don't see that as a thing we should do. I think if anything, what I should do at some point is rescale the icons to be smaller so we can have 2 rows per tier. We're probably about at that point. I probably will have to do that for the next wave. We won't do it here. So yeah, I think we'll end this one here. I think I'm going to lock in Triceratops baby at the end of tier A. I think this, you know what? No, I think this belongs in A tier because it's an obscure film design that's captured pretty accurately, right? I think that's good. I mean, you could argue that maybe it should be around like Corythosaurus Dimetrodon tier. But the Dimetrodon has some weird quirks of like being a figure. Also, I don't give 2 fucks about Dimetrodon in the franchise. This is definitely one of the better small figures, I think, stylistically. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. Okay, we're locking it in. We're locking it in, bottom of A tier. Controversial placement, I'm feeling, even internally. But it's done pretty well, I think, for what it is.